So check it out. I was listening to this podcast the other day, and they briefly mentioned something about 5 distortions of the soul. And I got to wondering, if this explains my distortion, can it also explain what makes me, well, me? Have you ever thought of this question? Now, I'm not a complex creature, and my wife would definitely agree with that. I like to think I'm consistent with my personality, but I'm not talking about a personality test or an assessment on who we are, but rather my question is, why? Why am I the way that I am? So I decided to take these 5 points that this podcast talked about and spin them in a different direction in trying to explain why I am the person that I am today. So here's part 1 of a 5-part series on trying to understand why I am who I am. So the first part in understanding what has shaped and molded me is family. How I was raised and by whom I was. Is it whom or who?
Oh, okay. What? It's whoever, not whomever.
No, it's whomever.
No, whomever is never actually right.
Whomever I was raised by is a great place to start. There's many men and women of my lineage who came together through years of chance encounters to ensure I would eventually be born. They are the foundation of my existence. But out of that lineage are the 2 most influential factors, my mom and my dad. When you think of your parents or those who raised you, what were they like? How did they respond in conflict? How did they act in challenging situations? And what were the words they spoke to you that left an indelible mark, good or bad? What was the example you witnessed? How did they treat others? How did they treat you? Now think about this. How are you responding to your children? Now, Paul writes in Ephesians 6:4, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." And again, Paul writes in Colossians 3:21, "Fathers, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged." Think about the weight of that responsibility. When you're frustrated with your kids because they won't listen the first 17 times, when you're in conflict with your spouse, how are you responding with such sensitive little ears listening?
Oh, be careful, little ears, what do you hear?
When you're overwhelmed with deadlines at work and stressed about office drama, how are you greeting them when you walk through that door? What about your level of engagement? Are you present and active in their lives, free from the distractions of cell phones, football games, or whatever else you would rather be doing than cleaning the house, doing the dishes, or spending quality time with them, and more importantly, spending that quality time with their mom? I know we all have our moments. I mean, come on. I lose my ish like once every 3 days.
Man, I'm not playing with y'all. Stop!
But remember, like the psalmist proclaimed, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward. Never forget, your children are your inheritance from the Lord. They are a special gift that was brought into your life to make you a better human being. View your children as a prize given to you for no other reason than the fact God loves and trusts you with their well-being. After all, as the dad, your children will become whatever you are to them. And don't we want to ensure when they ask the question, why am I who I am? They smile real big, look off with a fond memory, and say, because my dad was awesome.